Welcome back everybody to Isla Napali. In today's episode we are going further with the new area, but I will also go really deeply into your comments about last episode where we've been putting some additional stuff in, and yeah, you're gonna see how this turns out. But now enjoy today's episode and also give me feedback to the now following new transition. See you in a second. Awesome. So, yeah, we are in today's episode, and this is a episode that has been recorded just yesterday evening. So this week was freaking crazy in terms of Planet Zoo again, which I have to admit keeps me really busy at the moment. Frontier keeps blowing the stuff out, just blowing us with all the stuff available, and I seriously have to say that this is... Yeah, well, how should I put this? I really love doing that because I'm super hyped for Planet Zoo. However, I don't want to miss out on what we do, and this is why I thought I need to somehow bring in the episode for today, because I'm not quite sure if Sunday's episode will be like again fully fledged with like progress, or if we do something else. I think we just have to make sure that we manage to bring that in as well, because I'm also working on some stuff for Jurassic World Evolution, which had an update, and it kind of gives me a little bit of fun at the moment, so I'm willing to give it a chance to, you know, flex my creative muscles in there, even though I have to say the muscles don't need to be that big and huge to work with that. However, in today's episode we are going to tackle this area, what has been started last week, and I just want to read out a few of your comments from last week, just to make sure where we are going. Let me just read out, let me see, there were some great ones over here. By the way, for all those who are commenting in German, I tend to answer in German, but I'm going to stop this now. I'm sorry for that. I will include a German translation under my comment then, but I will first of all reply in English to make sure that this is really kept being an English channel. By the way, because I'm just doing some stuff in the background, this is again using coasters as fences, and I'm pretty happy how this turned out, because the actual spine of the coaster turns out to be a super nice pipe, which then could be used for water transport. Anyways, there are some good comments in here, and yeah, I'm just going to start reading out one from Gabriel Aronson, I guess that's how it's pronounced. So he said, hard to express my thoughts in words without pictures, but a trial. I like the idea of the retaining wall where you indicated, but perhaps instead of a path going by the log flume loop and through the wall, wooden door wall and the jade and anti-flooding effects. I have no clue, but we will look into this. Build a large boardwalk style wooden path above the curve of the log flume. At the height of the little Ferris wheel, turn that whole area into kind of vintagey seaside wooden boardwalk area with another small flat ride or some arcade games. That would also extend the view from the main path and create an open access to the seaside without the visual noise of the log flume in the way. The loop of the log flume would underneath the boardwalk from the boardwalk area, a ramp or staircase down to the beach. The retaining wall could be concrete with a worn down hand painted mural. Some graffiti from the Ghostbusters pack under the boardwalk area. That should be really awesome. I think this can be done, and I'm really looking into it. However, RBase96 said, and this is what we are doing right now actually, he commented, I like having the backstage area run alongside the mountain side. However, I'm not in favor of having yet another tunnel. I think that was pretty common that you guys didn't like another tunnel, so I'm not doing it, as you have seen. This also wouldn't be that realistic, because the road would likely have been there before the park, so that it would have led it around the mountain instead of through it. If you shrink the mountain in a bit at some points, you can have a nice winding road from the back harbor all the way up to the kiddie coaster. The road would be shielded by some backstage buildings, or a tighter point, it's just a fence and some odd shrubbery. Also, the area across the entrance to the wooden coaster would be great for a big restaurant, which can be supplied directly from the back of the backstage area road. Didn't you get annoyed by the chickens on your honeymoon? Imagine the amount of shit they leave on the ground each day. Well, they do, but fortunately not in the hotel areas and not in the areas where we've been. And the beaches were also pretty clean, so that wasn't really that big of an issue. I'm not going to read out even more comments, because they all went pretty much in the same direction, which I do like, because this makes the life for me quite a bit easier. because I was also not feeling it, right? I wasn't really feeling my decision here, and this is exactly why I did this. This is exactly why I decided to make this episode. Like, I really didn't want to make it in the first place because there was seriously not that much progress in it. But I had the feeling I need a little bit of feedback here to go further. And in today's episode, I have to say, even though there is not like so much grabbable or like so much visual, I should say, progress in here, there's a lot of progress in terms of planning going on. And this is super awesome. So you know how much of a struggle the pathing system is. So I'm glad I have already put that in. As you can see on the right hand side at the moment, there is, well, now it's the left hand side actually, there is the Backstage road, and we made this wonderful fence out of the mine train coaster, and we have to the inside of the fence we have now the pipe work, which is super awesome because then we have already some pipe works going on, and we can take this actually as a connection. I also like the fence because it's pretty solid, and it's also really fencing off that area from the Backstage road. And I do agree that the overall, let's say, layout of that road has been here before it was a theme park. So considering this has been a botanical garden, this fence makes double sense, because then it would have been also fenced off to make sure that not the exhausts and stuff go into the botanical area, which also would make a lot of sense. And then you wouldn't make this road go too much to the seaside because of the storms and stuff, so you would keep it kind of close to the mountain, and so it all makes sense. Anyways, for the second part actually of this video, we are doing exactly one thing, and this is again one thing that you guys mentioned a few episodes ago. Quite a few of you did actually, and this is probably the coolest thing. It is really awesome because you talked about yet another pavilion, and it might sound a little bit like boring to have like, I don't know, a million pavilions in or whatever, but this is exactly what you would do and expect. And I've seen quite a few pavilions on Hawaii, on Maui and on Kauai, so it's really not that it wouldn't be common there. It's pretty common over there, and as kind of an integration point, I know it's really like an it's like really eye candy at one point. It's an eye catcher, but it's also really effective because it guarantees a lot of shade, but yet a lot of airflow. And this is really, I think, one of the main, let's say, advantages of these kind of pavilions. They look also pretty nice indeed, and they are also kinda cheap to build. So a lot of things that pay into it when it comes to why there are so many pavilions. And I also wanted to build some more of these pavilions. And let me just tell you, as I said a few episodes ago, it's really that point in time where I think we will have to have a little bit of a let's say improvement episode in the end, where we exchange as many pieces with workshop pieces, if there are some good new workshop pieces available, to make sure that we save a lot of FPS again. But at this very point in time, I just don't want to spend too much time into negotiating if I want to have some pieces from a workshop or not. I will definitely for next week go in and do a whole new workshop tour and see what I can get and see what I can improve with it, because still this series should be focused also on using pieces from the workshop. So definitely I'm not going to build only now with the in-game pieces. However, I feel pretty comfortable with it, obviously. But yeah, so at this point in time, I decided to just go with what is in-game, and honestly, there is still so much in-game that makes it all so amazing to use. And at the other hand, yes, this pavilion, I can already tell you in advance, will again be sucking 1,000 pieces, which doesn't really do a lot of great things to my FPS count, but well, the park is still okay. It's not that, it's not like in Camel Kingdom where there was like literally no chance for me to play the game any longer. I'm still running at a decent mid 20 FPS if the game is paused and on high settings, so that's totally fine. If I do rotate the camera a little bit too much into the crowded area of the park and too much like zoom outside of the, or like further back, it definitely goes well below 20 FPS, but again, it's really not that big of an issue at the moment. I can still even stream the park while having music run, while having rendering going on, so there's quite a lot of kind kind of, performance I can still go into. So there will be eventually point in time where I wouldn't be able to stream anymore, I guess at least, and then I need to think of maybe running it at low settings or whatever, because the stream is not, that nicely to watch anyways, because I can only stream in 720p. So, well, it should be still okay if I run it in, let's say low to medium settings. Just use a few medium settings to make it not look total garbage. But this actually, since my graphic card is really it's getting old. I think that's also one of the issues. It's getting old, and it's getting used, and it's getting, it basically has run for the last 2.5 years on maximum power. So I think it really starts being also used, because I don't really have the performance I had in that graphics card. It's a 970 GTX. And I remember how good my performance, for example, in Battlefield was and in GTA 5, and it isn't that great any longer, even though I have a overall better computer now with a lot more RAM, with a lot more CPU power compared to what I had when I was lastly playing GTA 5. But I just opened it recently and I had weaker FPS, and when I was bringing down the graphics, it was improved dramatically. So I think it really, the graphic card is also worn. I have to put it that way. It's really that way. At the moment, I simply don't have the money to buy a new one. It's simply not doable, because there's literally no reason for me to go for a 1080, for example, because it's still too expensive compared to what I would need to pay more for an RTX 2080. And then again, I'm not going to get the 2080 flat. I definitely would then go for the 2080 Ti, because it's like $200 more or so, but you get like a lot more performance out of the Ti. So yeah, this is basically what I'm aiming for, but honestly, the thing is still at €1,000, and I can totally honestly give you the info. I'm not even earning €60 out of YouTube a month. So even considering I would pay it monthly, like on a kind of rental basis or whatever, or like a leasing base or whatever you want to call it, I would still need to wait like maybe let's say 15 months until I'd be able to pay it only from YouTube. And as I have this kind of rule with my wife that I'm only purchasing stuff for YouTube alone, or like for my computer alone, from the money I make with it, yeah, it's kind of a hard call here. I definitely will bring in my own money a little bit so that I don't need to wait until 2 years, because then obviously I would pay also something else. But yeah, the price is not going down, anything like that at the moment, so maybe I'm lucky to win. I literally just take part in every lottery when this graphic card is in a lottery, but hell, I've never ever won anything in a lottery, so never. So yeah, I'm just trying to stream more on Twitch, so to see that we also maybe have some more success there, because I really want to make sure that I can up the quality also of the videos, and I'm afraid of what Planet Zoo will demand from my computer. So yeah, I'm definitely looking into improving me on this in this department, but hell, you shouldn't be worrying too much about it. As long as I can play, that's all fine, and we're talking really about first world problems here, so please don't get me wrong. There's so much more important in this whole world than this stuff. Anyways, we are already getting a little bit closer to the end of this episode. As you can see, we are only working on this thing, but finally I found the real pieces, and I have to say, I really love the outcome at the end. It really looks super decent. Next episode, I'm going to give you some glory shots again, because this episode there is not too much to film nicely. So on Sunday, if there's no episode, I'm going to do a little cinematic tour or whatnot, so that you do have at least a little bit or whatever. So yeah, but here you can see this is the final approach on the pavilion. I'm super happy with the outcome. There's a little bit of extra bit in there as detail, so we have a little bit of a rounded off shape in the middle. These iron, I don't know what exactly this is. It seems to be like a flower hanging thing, iron hanging thing, whatever. Looks super nice. It shaped these rounded off, I think, quarter pieces, or it's actually not a quarter, it's even less. It's like a sixth, I don't know, whatever. 1/6 of it. How many? Actually, we have 10 pieces, right? So it's 1/10 of these pieces. So yeah, it looks super nice, I guess, in the end. And then I was struggling to find the right spot for this tree. However, that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make also sure to check out the latest Planet Zoo videos. There have been so many videos. I will put them now in as a little card. And then yeah, hopefully you're gonna enjoy these as well. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe, whatever, if you're new. You know that game, right? Now enjoy your day. See you next time, and bye.